now call this meeting to order at 6 p.m. All trustees are present. Welcome. This meeting is being webcast live and recorded. The recording or webcast may capture images and sounds of those attending the meeting. Please stand for pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This is September 26, 2024, regular meeting agenda. Second. Meeting discussion. Roll call. Valerie. Aye. Teresa. Aye. Sammy.
Aye.
Patty. Aye. And aye. Report. Sumner Middle School. Bingo. My name is Lily Williams, and I represent the ASD at Sumner Middle School. Thank you for letting me share some of the great things that are going on our campus. Tonight, we have a number of slides that show some of the great things that have happened so far this year at JUSD. We start off the year with a great turnout for our flagship full night event, and would like to thank the RAC for providing classes for those who attended. Next, I'd like to recognize our school-wide PJIS model, which is pride, patience, respect, integrity, dependability, and empathy. Each Wednesday morning, students who have earned pride tickets get to redeem them for prizes before school in our cafeteria. Over the summer, we were fortunate to have new sheds installed for ag and STEM programs. Last week, Mr. Whitmore hosted the first meeting with the Student Advisory Group, so that our students can have campus input. Earlier this month, Mrs. Williams did an excellent job of organizing Mental Awareness Week. Sumner's Rocketry Club has started with Mr. Dalian, and Mr. Hodgson is working hard on the first play of the year, Dorothy in Wonderland. Our fall sports are off and running, and started with JMS hosting a preseason volleyball carnival with all league teams participating. Our volleyball team and flag football team both are having successful years and start this week off by beating Pioneer. The flag football team currently is 4-1 and in first place, and the volleyball team is holding strong in third place. Cross country hosted a meet last Thursday with 7 schools and over 150 athletes competing. Our first rally of the year recognized the cross country, flag football, and volleyball teams, and had a great performance by our JMS cheer club. Sixth grade started off the year strong by winning the first spirit competition of the year. And finally, Miss Regina is getting the JMS marching band ready for the climb grade. I'd like to thank you for all of your support for JMS, and I look forward to our next opportunity to do that in the future.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Galindo, and I'm here to bring the high school report. I didn't make a presentation, but I do have my notes. First off, homecoming will commence this following week on September 30th. Each class is rallying up their ideas and preparations to begin float building and lip sync dance to be showcased on Friday, October 5th. The Powder Puff game will also take place on the day prior, October 4th. The game is open to the public to observe with our new additions. We're hoping to broadcast the game. ASB is hoping to have an additional student commentator up in the box during the game, but that's still in the works. This past Monday, the Marine Corps provided a musical performance for the CHS to watch. That was pretty good. Members of ASB have been coming together and are hoping to commence a Panther Vision News, where we provide weekly news on the community and school. I, along with 2 ASB members, are hoping to be the featuring speakers. Thank you.
Good evening. Mr. Mr. Pacina asked me to share his report with everyone tonight since he's unable to be here. He's at a training with several of the other administrators in the district. So he has a slide deck here that I will comment to when Mr. Houston is getting it queued up. The first slide is about safety. And each of the slides have a video attached to it, but just real quick before we show the video in each one, safety is, as Mr. Pacina wrote here, safety is our board's first priority. We want to thank our Chief Archero for being an amazing partner with us in being proactive in safety. The video that we're going to share, it has over 5,000 views since its release last week. Together, we can make corporate a safe place if we all commit to reporting issues when we see them. And if you see something, say something through our Spring Air reporting app. So we'll share the video with you right now.
Our collective goal as a city and school district is to ensure that we have a safe environment for all. We're here to share with you that it will take each of us to see this goal achieved. We want to make sure that our students, families, and community members understand the importance of being eyes in our community. When you see something, say something. Use our stereo anonymous reporting platform that's on our district website if you see any unsafe behavior with our schools. You can also call the police department if you have any issues to report. We want to make sure that everyone understands the severity of engaging in threatening behaviors. Any social media threats, intentional targeted fights, including adult participation in fights or transporting students to fights, can face legal action up to being arrested and prosecuted. These behaviors can become felonies. We need all of you to help in keeping our community and school safe. The more of us who do ourselves as reporters, we're also reducing any unsafe behaviors. Together, we can create a safer corporate.
Yeah, our second slide is celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month. And Mr. Pacina wrote, with 91% of our student population being Hispanic, we want to take a moment to recognize this time between September 15th and October 15th. And he wants to share a video of our amazing food service staff and how they're celebrating this month through food with our students. All right, and our third slide is about creating amazing moments. And the video is at the high school football game after the team won. He said last week we had a home football game that went down to the wire and the end we won. But what was the best moment was our community and players celebrating as one. The moment was inspirational for many. And he asked the question, do we have students who need help with behaviors? Yes. Do we have some adults in our community who need help with their behaviors? Yes. For our students, we will be there with and for them to help them become successful adults. The bigger question is, are we creating amazing moments like this one we will watch, which brings everyone together rather than dividing our community and students? Together we can create an amazing program. Share the video. And that concludes our superintendent's report. I have to add, I don't know how many students around the valley actually know the importance of all our fights. So that was pretty amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. Board of Trustees? I would like to echo that. I was at the game on Friday night. It was so amazing. I only remember the very first burst of the Bucks on site, and then I stopped and just got cheery and on. But I would like to thank Mr. Larkin and Mr. Udall for putting up those amazing sites at the stadium. It was a beautiful site. It was so much school spirit and around the stadium, and I think that helps the people in the stands just generate their enthusiasm as well. And it was a great game, a close game. I didn't get to see the band perform on Monday, but I heard great reviews. And I think what a great opportunity to bring them in so that students know that our band students know that there's opportunities further than just high school band. You know, you can go into the armed forces and still participate. And again, kudos to our video production. Every Friday night is an amazing night on that big screen. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Corporate Faculty Association, CSA.
We're in receipt of the CSA report.
California School Employees Association, CSEA.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Can you hear me? Yes? All right. Good evening, members and administration. Dulce Sandoval, CSEA Chapter President. So glad the triple digits are behind us and the cooler fall weather is beginning. So we thought until this week brought us close to 100-degree days again. These past few weeks have flown by and we're already towards the end of September. I'm happy and sad to announce that one of our longtime custodians, Mr. Richard Bocanegra, is retiring next month. He has provided 23 years of service to this district and the students. He will be greatly missed, but congratulations on your upcoming retirement. We are also losing a paraeducator and can't continue to express the importance to fill their positions in a timely manner, but also increase our sublist to provide coverage for staff. Fall is coming, and along with that comes all of the lovely viruses we see every year. It is imperative that we have access to subs to provide coverage for the sites when needed. The most recent events in Georgia with school shootings and threats around the country just bring to the forefront the importance of always improving our safety plan for those very real and possible situations. We need to always be prepared and treat every possible threat in our schools with the utmost urgency and accountability. We cannot assume any threat to just be dismissed as a joke. Our middle school and high school sports seasons are in full swing, and it's amazing to see all of the support for our student athletes. Good luck to all of the teams, and we hope you bring home some league titles to Cortland. Communication. Although it has improved at the sites, especially in regards to classified staff being kept informed by site administrators or department supervisors, there is still a lot of work to be done. There is still a lot of information not being relayed in a timely manner to the appropriate employees, or not at all. I have expressed several times to current and past superintendent what my vision for sites and departments to hold monthly meetings with their classified staff. I'm not aware if this is being done, but it is something that needs to happen. Classified staff need to also be given that opportunity to not only network and collaborate with their peers, but to also have their supervisors and the site administrators invested in what they have to say to improve the work culture, the environment, but also address any obstacles or needs they may face in their daily workday. The increase in behaviors with students and the lack of adaptive skills such as toileting skills has increased and will continue to increase. Unfortunately, that is the nature of our state and where we are headed. This has created a huge addition of duties to our elementary sites to try and keep up with these needs. We do not have any of these duties embedded in any of our job descriptions, so we must take the time to meet with district and both unions to try and address these needs and concerns. These are highly sensitive duties that require staff willing to be trained, but that also need to be compensated. We look forward to working with the district and Mr. Pacina to find the best solution to address the increase in needs of the students, but to also compensate the staff appropriately. Thank you, everyone, and have a great evening.
Other reports, elementary and secondary school emergency relief ESSER 3 expenditure plan update.
Yes, good evening. I'd like to report an update on our ESSER 3 expenditure plan, which was developed in 2021. The ESSER 3 expenditure plan was recently revised in order to match the expenditures that we made that specifically addressing the impact of lost instructional time section of the ESSER plan. The revisions that we made included programs and services that were already listed in the other sections of the ESSER plan under use of any remaining funds. The revisions that we made helped ensure that we kept the $2 million in funds in the district and that we did not have to return them. So some of the things that we changed was just clarifying language. So we kept the expanded learning opportunities action in the ESSER, and we just added staff to extend the day because that is one of the allowable expenses. Also in the expansion of learning action, we added language to clarify that staff for academic, behavior, mental health, in order to support the overall well-being of students was present. It was kind of hidden in there, so we wanted to bring that to the forefront because it is an allowable expense, and we wanted to ensure that we use these ESSER funds or the remaining of these ESSER funds for these areas. So that's my update for the ESSER 3 expenditure plan. Any questions?
Local control and accountability plan, LCAP.
Okay. So I'm happy to report that Kings County Office of Ed has formally approved our Corcoran Joint Unified School District 2024-25 Local Control and Accountability Plan. There were some revisions that we had to make to the board-approved LCAP, and that's what I'm here to provide a summary for. So I'm going to break it down by sections of the LCAP, but I'm going to try to keep it concise. So in the BOP, or the budget budget overview for parents, we did have to make some corrections because of the calculator. So we changed the S&C funding to an estimated $13,772,718. In the general fund expenditures, we did have to correct that amount, and that was $59,889,011. In the area of high needs budgets, because of the other corrections, we made the correction of $16,701,869, and also the LCFF base changed to an estimation of $34,325,241. And those corrections that were made in the BOP also had to be done in the action tables of the fiscal portion of the LCAP so that they mirrored one another. In the LCAP annual update, we had to make some small adjustments to our statewide assessments in the metrics section. There were changes to the instructions of the LCAP regarding the red student groups that were identified on the dashboard. So we had to add metrics in our assessment areas to address how we were going to monitor those red groups throughout the year. Our goal in the goal analysis area of the annual update, we also had to add language for goal 3, that it is now an equity multiplier goal, and that we did not keep our previous goal 3, which involved parent involvement. that was joined with goal 2 in the most current LCAP. In the plan summary section, homeless students was added, and we did clarify that this particular student group is what caused the district to be identified as differentiated assistance because of the performance in academics and suspensions for this particular student group. For educational partners sections, it was a simple fix. We copied and pasted the partner consultation from this section into goal 3, which is our equity multiplier goal, which is our funds provided to Kings Lake Mission Community Day School and Corcoran Academy. In the goals and actions, goals 2 and 3 had just a couple of issues, and that was matching their metrics. So whatever we had at the beginning had to match the improved services in that section. So metrics and services had to match. There were just a couple that did not match, but we fixed those. And finally, for that area, we had to include long-term English learners, or LTELs, as a group. They are now the 14th new student group in the LCAP, and they will show up as teal on the fall dashboard that comes out this December. Increase and improve services, which is the last section. We matched the descriptions that address the student needs, again, having to do with our red student groups to match the metrics and the goals and the actions. And so those were our revisions, but it was approved by KCOE last week, and I believe they sent a letter to our board presidents. So are there any questions?
Thank you. Presentation, Regine McGavin, Mathematics, UC Merced Summer Math Camp Review. Ms. Mel Morano.
Good evening, members of the community, members of the board, board president, De La Fuentes, Assistant Superintendent Jen. My name is Ismael Serrano, and I represent the University of California. In early April or late April this year, we actually had a meeting with your team to discuss an intervention as part of a 2-year grant to provide math interventions for your students, primarily at the middle school level and elementary level. And through this meeting, we were able to collectively conduct a 4-week math academy. If we go to the slide where it has the logo, this academy was scheduled for 4 weeks, Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 3:30. Next slide represents the schedule. I want to take a moment to share with you the schedule. As you can see, for 4 weeks, Monday through Friday, it was nothing but math, with the exception of a morning break, a 40-minute lunch, and another 15-minute break. When I started doing this work about 7 years ago, many adults would say to me, this will never work. Kids are not going to give up their summer to do nothing but math. But through the support of your superintendent and other district officials, they believed that your kid and any kid can do it. Part of our philosophy on the next slide is that everything that at least I conduct when it comes to this work is driven by research and data. It cannot be about just conducting an academy for the sake of conducting it. Part of this research that we've uncovered and that has been validated has been the following. If students attend our academies, 1, their confidence and knowledge in math will increase. And you'll see that through the surveys that we presented. But additionally, by default, those students that attend our academies through our own research have demonstrated that when they're taking the state assessment, the likelihood of getting 3s and 4s on the state assessment increased dramatically. In addition to that, if students can take courses at an earlier grade level, as is the case with your district, you're one of the few districts that has Math 1 in 8th grade. That in itself is going to propel students to enroll in a 4-year university. So when we brought this grant as part of the T60 Collaborative, we wanted to ensure that we supported what you are already doing. And so over the course of 4 weeks, these kids will engage with a qualified instructor, 1 to 2 level college tutors that provided the support. And when I conducted the recruitment presentations, I remember saying the following, and your middle school principal can attest to this. I said to the students, because when they saw the schedule, they were like, Mom, don't listen to that guy. I'm not going to sacrifice my summer. But I said to them, I go, it's okay for you to be fearful, but I guarantee you this is what's going to happen on the last day of the academy. And I said to them, you are going to ask me, you are going to beg me to do a 5th week. Guess what? That's what the kids said. They did not want the academy to end. Next slide. It's a map of the state of California. I wanted you to be aware that you were part of a big picture initiative where we conducted these academies at CSU Bakersfield, serving Barton, Corcoran and Pardier at Fresno Pacific, and Madera at UC Merced. I didn't expect the amount of students to be a part of this, but wanted you to know that you played a critical role in this academy. The next slide represents the attendance. And as you can see, a good portion of them got perfect attendance. Some of the students that missed the bus, their parents actually drove them to Pacific so that they couldn't miss the academy. Overall, our attendance was fantastic, as it always is. The next slide represents the courses that we offered. These were all courses not for original credit, but rather front-loading. So we front-loaded your incoming 6th graders for Math 6, incoming 7th graders for Math 7, and your 8th graders for Math 8. And again, our focus, again, driven by research and data as we did assessments, is to ensure that we didn't do everything in 4 weeks, but that we were intentional in what we covered. And when I say intentional, is what are the gaps that our kids in those grade levels face? Because to do everything, are you really going to make an impact? The work that I've done doesn't supply that. Next slide is how kids felt before the academy. And for those of you that attended the recruitment night, it's like, oh no, I'm not going to do this. This is crazy. It's too much. The next slide represents how kids reacted, how they felt after the academy. They were happy. They were happy to understand more math. The next set of slides represents questions on students' survey. And we asked them, how is your confidence in math? Has it increased or not? Has your knowledge of math increased or not? And as you can clearly see, we get very positive outcomes from the students. The next slide talks about the level of rigor between the academy and what happens in their school district. And as you can clearly see, there's a difference, right? And then the last slide is an overall ranking of the academy. What did they think about the academy? Was it good? Was it excellent? What did they feel? So with that said, I want to thank this district for committing to working with us. This was part of a 2-year grant. We hope to continue this effort as early as spring and conduct further academies this summer with your middle school and elementary students. Are there any questions? So before I dismiss, I want to publicly thank a few folks. First of all, your Assistant Superintendent, Mr. Chen, sir, I want to thank you for all that you've done for Corcoran. I met Mr. Gent in 2006 when we brought a grant that's still here, and he provided us great support. It has done so ever since. So sorry to hear that you're retiring, but wish you the very best. If it wasn't for people like him, we would not be able to do the work. And when we brought the academy concept he was in full support. The other individuals is your principal from the middle school who's here. I'd like to publicly thank him, his VP, and his counselors, because without those three individuals, we would have never conducted this math academy. From the recruitment to phone calls, and even the principal trained the academy when we had issues, it was a call away. So thank you, sir, for everything that you've done. Thank you, board.
2023-24 unaudited actual. Mark Howard.
Okay, can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
All right. Well, you saved me for last, and I get to tell you all about the numbers. So the good news here is that the punchline, I'll give it to you up front. This is a good news story, closing out the books for 2023-24 unaudited actuals. So jumping right in, this first slide is a 7-year history on our enrollment. That's what's in the blue versus our average daily attendance in the green. I added, I don't know if you can see the percentages on the top of the green bars, but that would be our attendance ratio each year. And I thought that that was good to point out. So although you could clearly see the graph, the green bars getting smaller and that we are in declining enrollment, the good news story is that if you look to the left, pre-pandemic, right, our attendance rate was around 95.2%. And you can see that in the 1920 year, it started to decline, started to tick down. And in the 22-23, I'm skipping now all the way to the right on the second to last from the right, we had a really low attendance rate at 91.5%. And so going into the 23-24 year, even though we had about a drop in 90 students enrolled, we maintained the same attendance level and brought that attendance ratio up to 94.9%, almost above the 95% where we were pre-pandemic. So I don't know what all was done or what changes occurred last year compared to the year before, but whatever we did was very successful in bringing our attendance rate up, and I highly recommend that we continue to do whatever we did differently last year. We continue to do that going into the future. This next slide is on the general fund revenues. So big picture wise, the general fund saw $70.1 million come in revenue. You can see that the lion's share of that is through the LCFF funding formula. So 68% of that is generated through LCFF. And effectively, the LCFF is revenue generated by our kiddos, and we are earning $15,638 per student. That's what we earned last year. The district has a very high unduplicated pupil percentage at 89.38%. That is reflective of students eligible for free and reduced meals, foster youth, and English learners. And so because of our high UPP, the district, out of that 15,000, the district earns $4,439 per student because of that UPP. And that chunk of money there is what creates that $13 million that goes into where we have to write the LCAP and identify all the good things that we're doing through the LCAP for our students. So this next slide is a summary of our expenditures. This is showing our expenditures by object. And we had $62.2 million in total expenses in the general fund. 71% of that, the lion's share, is salary and benefits at $44 million. And our non-labor expenses totaled $18.2 million. So all of these trends and percentages look very similar compared to last year. There's nothing abnormal or out of the ordinary that has jumped out at me as I closed the books. This next slide is a different way of looking at the same $62.2 million in expenses. This is showing it graphed by function. And as you can see, 52% of our money dollars spent goes towards instruction, 13% to instructional services. That would be like your principals, vice principals, your admin staff at the sites, as well as some of our instructional admin at the district office. Your pupil services at 8%, that would represent your counseling staff, mental health professionals, nursing staff. Your general admin at 7%, that would represent mostly your human resources, your business staff, and your IT staff. And then that big chunk plant services at 15%, that would be our maintenance and custodial staff, along with, all of the utilities, electricity, water, gas, that the district spends to keep all of our facilities up and running. And again, this is very consistent with our ratios from the prior year. So again, nothing abnormal jumped out at me. And in fact, this is a very similar looking chart that I have seen at my previous district. So all total for the general fund, in summary, we have spent less than we brought in, and we added $7.9 million to fund balance. The major contributing factors to that is from our ELOPE money, the Extended Learning Opportunity funds. We received $4 million last year. We only spent $2 million, and so we added $2.1 million to fund balance. ESSER 2 and 3, we're at the end of a lot of our COVID funds. They are expiring here in 5 days, and that's one-time money. And so those funds are nearly all spent down and has contributed to our fund balance. And then Prop 28, we received about $600K for Prop 28. That's for arts and music grant. And so that was not spent last year. So moving into this year, we'll be working our plan there to spend those funds. But those were the major. There were a lot of puts and takes to fund balance. There's a lot of different funding sources, but those are the big three that I wanted to highlight that are contributing to that addition to fund balance. And then finally, this I know this is an eye chart, but this is as succinct as I could make it to just give you a bird's eye view of all of the different funds under the board's umbrella, and highlight, where the funds started, the revenue in the green, revenues that came in, expenditures that went out, and the change in fund balance. So I just spent most of my time focused on the general fund, and I can briefly run through the others. But we have an ASB fund. We have 2 ASB clubs in our district, and this is a fund where we just have to, we don't control the dollars in our district account, but we have to report them. So basically we had $470K come in to our ASB funds and 443 go out. And so we're just tracking that, those ASB expenditures in our funding system. The adult ed fund stands alone. We capture all of our expenses associated with adult ed there in Fund 11, along with the child development fund. And you can see that the change in fund balance for both of those funds is quite small. So we're doing a really good job there, utilizing all of those funds for those programs. And in the cafeteria fund, while we are seeing a positive change in fund balance, I have noticed that the state has provided several different funding sources for cafeteria fund in the last couple of years. And so if those funding sources were to end, I do not think it would be a surprise that our cafeteria fund would likely show a negative change in fund balance. Just something to keep in the back of your minds as we go forward. The deferred maintenance fund is there to set aside money specifically for deferred maintenance, which would include like updating flooring, carpet, taking care of buildings. It's a lot of the work that we would do in the summertime when the rooms are empty. And then our developer fee fund is to capture developer fees. I don't know if Corcoran has a lot of building going on, but anytime new developments occur in Corcoran, the district will earn some developer fees. And then lastly, the special reserve fund for capital outlay. That fund is set aside for specifically for facility projects, other large capital projects. And I am aware that we have a modernization project going on at the high school, as well as a modernization project at Kings Lake. So all total, if you were to lump everything up together, the district's ending with a fund balance of $43 million. And that is all I've got. Are there any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think the Prop 28 funds, Prop 28, it's ongoing as far as I know, but the plan was brought in June, correct, by Mr. Price. We haven't filled that position because it is as position, not as new position, not supplant existing position. So we're looking at the possibility of adding more music or arts to our elementary school as part of the plan. We have about 600, and 80% have to go to salary. So that's about $400K a year. So that's quite a bit. When you look at, yeah, when you look at the cost of an FTE, there's a lot of staff to that.
Public hearing. We will now conduct a public hearing for the sufficiency of instructional materials and instructional materials funding realignment program. Mr. Jeff, you continue.
Great, thank you. As a condition of receiving state funding for instructional materials, Ed Code 60119 and California Code of Regulations, Title 5, 9531C, we need to hold an annual hearing regarding the sufficiency of instructional materials to check that all of our students have access to instructional materials. What this is defined as is each student, including English learners, has standards aligned textbooks and materials that are board approved and they can use in class and also take home. So the sufficiency of materials are checked in English language arts, English language development, mathematics, social science and history, science, health, and world languages. We submitted Resolution 1382, which outlines all the requirements that we have done, and we'll be asking for board approval later in tonight's meeting. As part of this Williams compliance, Kings County Office of Ed visit 2 of our sites. They pick 2 that they visit for a 3-year period. So those 2 sites were Bret Harte and Corcoran High School. They come and actually have students show them their textbook, and they count to make sure the numbers are correct. They do that in a certain number of classrooms at each site. And then they also check facilities, restrooms, common areas. They look for damage or anything that may not be noted on the fit reports that we submit as well. Another part of it is we have to have signage up that outlines what the requirements of Williams are and everyone's rights if they want to file a complaint or how to access that information, and those need to be updated yearly. This year, there were no findings in textbooks, and there was only a few small repairs that needed to be done. Most of them were like dispensers in the bathrooms. Some of the knobs were broken and things like that. It was easier to just order new ones and replace it than try to fix the plastic knobs that break. And then a couple of signs that needed to be updated. And that was it. Overall, the visit went very well. It was on September 11th. And so as part of this, we need to bring this to the board, and you need to approve our resolution 1382, and it needs to be done within the first 8 weeks of school, which we're compliant with that. So at this time, I open the public hearing up to the board or any public if you have any questions or input. Anything from the public? We can let it run a little bit, yeah, let the public hearing go for a minute or so. But if not, then, like I say, when we get to the resolution part of the agenda, we'll ask for your approval. Thank you.
I will now close the public hearing. Action items, consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda items?
In the past year for the annual CSBA Association. Number 5, number 8, 6 for the CSBA trip. So my question is, if we're approving our own expenditures for this trip, how are we going to do that? I have a conflict with approving that, because it's never been done before. So I'd like to amend the motion to approve it with the exception of that, and do what we've previously done. If it has to come back to the board for the other individuals to go, I think that may be where we need to go, unless there's a better explanation.
I don't have that answer for you, so I would say do exactly what you're doing, table it, and come back and revisit it, because it's not until December, right?
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
we have time back.
Correct. And I mean, if there's another explanation for approving our own trip, then I'll listen to it. Never done it before in the past, so I'd like to amend the motion to table that.
Valerie? Aye. Teresa? Aye. Sammy?
Aye.
Sammy? Aye. Resolution. Resolution number 1383, sufficiency of instructional material.
This is the resolution that we spoke about in the public hearing, we're asking for.
Discussion. Roll call, Valerie? Aye. Teresa? Aye. Sammy?
Aye.
Sammy? Aye. Resolution number 1383, Gavin. Opposed?
Yes, so the GAN limit resolution is something that we do every year. It was established in 1979. It's an amendment to our state's constitution, and when it was originally created, it was intended to limit government spending and to tie government spending to inflation or changes in the population. And so what has happened over the years is that our inflation and our population growth has grown so much that the limit that this was intended to establish is so high that it's not likely that any district or government entity would exceed it. So it's an automatic report that comes out of the state system software, and I'm pleased to report we are not above our GAN limit and asking the board for approval.
Motion to approve. Second. Any discussion? Roll call, Valerie? Aye. Teresa? Aye. Sammy?
Aye.
Sammy? Aye. And resolution number 1384, budget revision.
Make a motion to approve.
Any discussion? Roll call, Valerie? Aye. Teresa? Aye. Sammy?
Aye.
Patty? Aye. And aye. Resolution number 1385, continued funding application for California State Preschool Program. Ms. Reese?
Hi, good evening. Good evening. So the continued funding application is just an annual application that we submit as part of the California State Preschool Program. It says, please give us your money. Essentially is what it is. My part is, as director, is not so much the money portion of the application, but documents. So I have to submit school calendar, there's a civil rights assessment that I have to sign, just some other components that you have attached there. It's an annual thing that we do every year. So I'm just asking you to approve it. Do you have any questions?
Have a motion to approve? To approve. Second. Any discussion? Roll call, Valerie? Aye. Teresa? Aye. Sammy?
Aye.
Patty? Aye. And aye. Business. We will hear from each district staff for the following action items. Consider the approval of the 2023-24 unaudited actual.
Make motion approved.
Second. Any discussion? Roll call, Valerie? Aye. Teresa? Aye. Sammy?
Aye.
Patty? Aye. And aye. Consider the approval of the web posting of the 2023-24 education protection account. Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call, Valerie? Aye. Teresa? Aye. Sammy?
Aye.
Patty? Aye. And aye. Consider the approval of exemption from the required expenditures for classroom teacher salaries. Mr. Howard?
All right. So this is a request for exemption from the classroom teacher salary. This has also been a state requirement for some time, and it has been challenging ever since that the state has shifted our funding model to the LCFF funding model. This has become more challenging for districts to meet this target. For a unified school district, the target for certificated salaries is 55%. We fell short of that this year by 6.71%. And so the process in place is to request a waiver from the county superintendent, and we have to demonstrate that our teachers' salaries and benefits are competitive with other districts of similar size in our county as well as outside of our county. So included in the package here in our waiver request is comparing Corcoran up against 4 other districts in the area, the same districts that were compared last year, and our salary and benefits meet or exceed that of the teachers of those other districts.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve? A motion to approve. A second. Any discussion? We'll call Valerie. Aye. Teresa. Aye. Sammy.
Aye.
Patty? Aye. And aye. Consider the approval of the data sharing and confidentiality agreement with the University of California instead. Forget?
Yes, this is an agreement between UC Merced and our district. Basically allows UC Merced staff, counselors, access to our information that's in our student information system so that they can help us develop academic interventions or enrichment programs like Mr. Serrano talked about the math camp this summer. It allows them to evaluate the effectiveness of our program and help us audit what we're doing to prepare our students for secondary.
Any discussion? Roll call, Valerie? Aye. Aye. Sammy?
Aye.
Patty? Aye. And aye. 2024-25 Agricultural Career Technical Education Incentive Grant Application for funding.
This is a annual, application for supplemental funds for ag education. It's pretty mundane and typical, so, any questions? It's, 15 grand and change or something like that, about 15.
Okay. Roll call, Valerie? Aye. Teresa? Aye. Sammy?
Aye.
Patty? Aye. And aye. Consider the approval of the California State Preschool Program 2025-26 continued funding application. Any discussion? Roll call, Valerie? Aye. Teresa? Aye. Sammy?
Aye.
Patty? Aye. And aye. Educational services. Consider the approval of the Kings County Office of Education Community School Grant Writing Support Work Plan. Okay.
Good evening. This is a request to approve the work contract with KCOE for tech support services to be able to be eligible for our hat in the ring for the California Community Schools Partnership Program. California Community Schools Partnership Program.
Motion to approve. Any discussion? Roll call, Valerie? Aye. Teresa? Aye. Sammy?
Aye.
Patty? Aye. And aye. Future agenda items. The following topics have been identified for closed session: student disciplines or other confidential student matters and personnel matters. Public comment on closed session items. Do we have any public comment for the following closed session items? Do I have a motion to adjourn to closed session? Okay. Roll call. Valerie? Aye. Teresa? Aye. Sammy?
Aye.
Patty? Aye. And aye. There's a closed session at 6:58.